everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Adenike. Thank you for joining me, and today I am not alone. So if I see you or I visit you and you're an interesting person, or you are in an interesting season, or you're doing something currently interesting, best bet we're going to have a YouTube conversation about it, and hopefully we can keep our conversation today under some meaning so we don't talk too much. So I decided to stop over at my friends, and they have two amazing munchkins, those cute things that you just want to chop and just exactly. I come and find them today, and so I decided to speak with one half, or however you people put the equation these days, because somebody will say I'm not half, somebody will say I'm whole, whatever it is. I decided to speak to the woman, and her name is Ini. Family, yes, Ini.
Hi guys.
What's up, man? What's up? How you doing?
Oh my God. I'm creamish,
You cannot forehand. So this is Ini, and I like her full first name, Ini Abasi. Call the full.
Ini Abasi.
Okay, Ini Abasi. What does it mean?
God's time is the best.
Wow. Oh wow. And then her last name is Leye. So the true thing is that her husband's real last name is one name like that. They do not like it, not change to Leye. So this is Ini Leye, and Ini does many things. She's many things to many people. She is a daughter, she is a sister, she is a sister-in-law, she is an auntie, she is a wife, she is a mother, she is a friend, she is an artist, she is a therapist. Yes, so I think that is just a summation of the many things. She's an author. She's an author. She have book. She's an author, and I think the interesting season that Ini is currently in her life is the art and therapy part, as well as having conversations with people who are deep. No experience is ever just ordinary with a person like Ini. There's always a lesson. There's always God said this.
Are you serious?
Don't worry yourself. There's always that part of it, and which is why it was necessary for me to talk to Ini about it, because she started to paint, and I think it will be necessary to talk about how did you start painting. How did you start? When did you start? And why did you start?
Okay, so I started painting professionally in 2016, but I had always been painting, and I was always into art. I've been into art all my life. In fact, in secondary school, in my set, I was the only student I was the only girl at first in art class, and then I was the only student who took it for WAEC, GC, and JAM. So I didn't write NECO. I started painting because when I was I remember specifically when I was in primary school, it was interesting to see how, in primary school it was just sketching and shading. It was interesting to see how you could portray life on paper. It was just interesting to me. It was fascinating.
Did you do introductory technology in secondary school?
Yes, I did.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed the art part of it, but the other part of
Did you do fine art in secondary school?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what did you study in your undergrad?
I studied mass communication. I wanted to study fine arts, but then my dad was of the opinion that you can't send his child to school to go and be a pauper, because as a then the only images or the knowledge about people you see who are artists, roadside artists, or struggling artists, or nobody ever knew. And to be honest, even when I started painting professionally in 2016, it opened up a whole world to me of the business side of arts that I had no idea about. Because that was the only reason I never pursued arts I never saw it as, because all my life it had been drummed into my head that arts could only be a hobby. And so when I said okay, I'm going to do this thing professionally, I did it. I took that decision because I had just discovered just the tip of that world. And then when I went into it professionally, I saw there was so much.
Do you remember when I went to Bethel in 2017 and I kept shouting, Ini, there's much more to art than just being an artist or a painter?
I just remember that whole conversation now.
And that whole season of me going to School of Creatives at Bethel and sending you messages, you need to read this woman's book. you need to do this, you need to do that. For me, it was the first time I was seeing creative arts through the eyes of God. I had always, like a lot of people, seeing art in traffic. Somehow I wasn't born into an arty home, so my father didn't have paintings or didn't have creative sculpture here and there, so I wasn't exposed to that world. So the most my memory serves me, traffic, hawking, big art, small art, creative things. And then going to Bethel in 2017, Theresa Dedmon, I can never forget her name. I remember seeing people dance and then watching a person narrate how their healing came by watching another person dance, and then seeing people paint the mind and the heart of God. And I was like, no, Ini, you can't just paint anyhow. You have to key into this now. And
what year was this?
2017.
Yes, I was going to say that around 2017, 2018, I came into, I entered that whole, I like that threshold of prophetic arts. Let's say I jammed it.
Because the trip was in October 2017, and I'll never forget. And I kept saying, there is prophetic art, there is prophetic dance, there are interpretations, and it was such a wholesome experience for me. And I would see you paint, and I remember one of the first experiences I asked you, explain this painting, and I'm like, okay, wow, so paintings actually do have meanings, and they aren't just paintings just because somebody wants to talk about paintings. And now you are, at a point in your life where your art is still prophetic, but is moving to a place where you're using art, for therapy.
Yes, it's really. Okay, wait.
It's okay. No. I love how you interjected.
I was going to say that it's so amazing how everything built up to this point. Okay, no, let me finish this one before I move to. I hope I don't forget how everything built up to this point, because I came into the world of art. I discovered that it's something I could do professionally, and so I took it seriously. I didn't take courses, but I began to do research. I'm always doing my research. I'm always watching videos, always trying to improve my art, always practicing. And then I now stumbled into prophetic art. I will say that I know that with God, I didn't stumble into it. It's something that He allowed me to enter into.
Yeah.
Yes, because when I now did that, and I was thinking, okay, so I've come into prophetic art. What's the end goal? And okay, what's next after this? And then there was therapy. And so I now remember that, oh yes, art therapy is a thing. And so I went to look for it. I did the course, got certified. And then I discovered that, okay, so if I'm going to help people, it's not that I will be painting. So me learning about prophetic art and me even coming into my own as an artist, it's not even for me. It's for the people that I have sessions with, the people who I meet on a daily basis. Sometimes if I'm talking to you now, I've come into it so much that if I'm talking to you now, Adenike, you don't even have to be my client. I'll just tell you, do you have a pen? Do you have paper? You don't have to be an artist. You don't have to be perfect. Do you know that just drawing round and round in circles, it eases your mind? And sometimes you can even find the root of your problem through those circles that you've drawn. Because from there, you can now figure out, okay, why are these circles small? Why are these circles big? When you drew these circles, what were the issues? When you painted, sometimes I give my clients crayons and say, just color. I remember sitting with someone and different sheets of paper, and as she was talking to me, I would take can I have that one? I'll give another people, and on different sheets you could see different displays of emotions, and you will see how the progression of healing that happens during therapy through art. And it's the most beautiful thing. There was someone I heard in my spirit that you need to get this guy to draw a face.
Oh wow.
I said, okay, I want you to draw a face. He said, what face? Any face? I don't even know how to draw. I said, I know, just draw it.
Oh, wow.
Just draw a face, just draw a random face. And through that, we were able to pinpoint a lot of things. And so, and then I also remember the other thing I wanted to say was, nothing is coincidence in this life.
Yep.
In my final year in secondary school, my final year project was the effect of nighttime radio on the youth. For me to be able to do that, I had to talk about or research how music played during nighttime affects people. And so for me to be able to research that, I had to research on how music as art affects people. And then I had to research not just music, but the whole world of art. And then I discovered how there was art used as therapy, art used as medicine, and the bulk of my project was on that. Who would have thought? This was way back in, I think, 2010. Yeah, 2010 or so. Who would have thought that now, almost 10 years later, I don't know that. But yeah, who would have thought that now this would be what I'm doing? So I because I still have those notes. I had them in my cloud. Google big ups to you guys. So I had them in my cloud, and because I'm still reading now, even though I'm certified, I still read. You read every day. I remember going back to some of my notes and looking at some of the things I had put there. I'm just like, God damn it!
Wow. What is prophetic art?
Prophetic art is, you said it, just painting the mind of God. It's painting the mind of God. God gives you a message, and you portray it. Sometimes it's a message in a vision. It's a message in a dream, and then you paint it out. And people look at it and they get the mind of God. They hear God, they see God, they get healing, they get their prophecy.
They get to the
sometimes
root of
yes, exactly.
things.
You can see something, and it's as if this painting is prophesying to you before the painter even tells you what it means. You see it and you know it. It's basically the mind of God on paper.
Why is it important to have therapy? I think we know, and I believe that the average person who's watching equally knows, but I found out that experiences and interpretations always differ. So now that you are in this space where art and therapy have collided for you, why is it important to do therapy and use art?
Man, I'm thinking of how I can just bring this into one small. Therapy is so important, so important. It's important to do therapy because everybody needs to heal. Even the people who've come from stable homes. There's always something. Because for every person, I came up with this statistic because it was from something, a poll that I did from different people that I've spoken to. You are 99% your background, you're growing up. You're 65% of the experiences that you've been through life. And so everybody needs to heal. Everybody needs to sort out different things that they've gone through at one point in time or the other. Reason being, or the reason for that is that if you don't sort out what you've gone through and what you've had to deal with, that's if you've even dealt with it and not pushed it to the back burner. If you don't sort it out, it will come out in your relationships, in your interactions with people. It doesn't even have to be in marriage. It will come out in your relationships with your friends, in your workplace, in your, it could even come out with your relationship with your plants. Or you will find yourself that you don't know how to take care of something, or you do not feel you should take care of something like a pet or a plant because you have been neglected, because you feel you didn't get as much attention. It comes out in different ways and in different places, different stages of your life. And if you don't deal with it, you'll find that different relationships that you're in, you will end up sabotaging everything, pushing people away, hurting yourself more. You end up being in the same scenarios over and over again.
So case in point, we complain about things that our parents did to us, and then somehow we find ourselves repeating the same cycle, either for people who eventually have children of their own, or to people who are younger than them.
Yes.
And that's the circle that we continue to repeat.
Yes, that cycle, and the cycle of let's say
we're going to have to do a part 2 of this conversation so that we don't drag this conversation too long. If you're just joining in, this is my YouTube channel. Yay. My name is Adenike and this is Ini, and we're talking about art and therapy. We've spoken about many things. You need to go back, and basically I just want you to share with me your experience. If you've ever heard about prophetic art, if you've ever had a prophetic art session, if you've ever had a prophetic painting, how was that experience for you? And most importantly, therapy. Have you ever seen a therapist, and what is holding you back? Thank you for watching, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, and see you in our part 2. Yay!